I saw this thread about Plus R is not a difficult game to get into and is very fun. This is a Reddit thread, but there's like a discussion in this thread that I think is really interesting. And essentially, this thread was, I was a Street Fighter V player. After getting mad at Street Fighter V's online, decided I'm gonna try Plus R. But there was some holdouts on trying Plus R. It says, never played a Guilty Gear game before, had no idea what the characters do, how they play, what the mechanics were, and this compounded it even further because it really looks like there's a lot of things to do in Guilty Gear. Then it says the game is old. That's another concern. This means that there are probably tons of players who've been playing for a long time and are very, very out of their league. So the follow-up is, none of that matters. Some of it's not even true. I was sitting in training mode for hours, and I was thinking to myself, there's so much, when am I going to be ready to go online? And eventually, they decided to just do it. I loaded up ranked and just queued for a match, which was a shorter time than SF5's queue time. That's hilarious. I don't even think people play ranked in this game. I lost 10 games in a row, then finally won, which was surprising. Then I won some more, and my win rate is still less than 50, but it's not 0%, which is what I was expecting for a long time. I decided I didn't like playing a bunch of first to one, so I hit up the Plus R Discord. They have a newbie role that you can ping and get games against other new players. So I did that. 2 people immediately replied, and we set up a 3-person lobby. I didn't lose every time. I was amazed. There's people just as new as I am. I'm sure a lot of you have had literally this exact experience. They say the main reason I'm making this post is because I went to the Guilty Gear subreddit and I saw someone suggest that people pick up Plus R while waiting for Strive's release. Seems reasonable. I've done that. I saw people say that it's not that easy, or things along that line, saying it's a hard game and you can't just pick it up by the time Strive comes out. That's 3 months. You don't think you can pick up Plus R in like a basic way and enjoy the game in 3 months? If I played Sajam from December right now, he would be a child. I would destroy Sajam from December. He's trash. 3 months ago? That guy doesn't know what the hell he's doing at all. In fact, think about how much you learn in a fighting game in like a week or 2 weeks of playing. And I like this response where they said, that's super wrong. You can pick up Plus R even as a new player. You don't even have to know all there is to have fun. Dude, Ryan Hunter's in the chat. I saw someone in the chat say something about how the system mechanics of like Guilty Gear Exert or Plus R worked in his chat. And Ryan Hunter was like, what? I didn't know that that was like that. I played this game for decades or whatever, and I didn't even know that was a thing. If there's things Ryan Hunter doesn't know about Guilty Gear, you guys will all be fine. They say you can just learn the basics and hop online. This also applies to other smaller rollback titles like all these games, Skullgirls, Melty Blood, Them's Fighting Herds, or whatever. If you think it looks interesting, it's worth playing. Devil's Advocate, this guy sounds like an FGC veteran. Your mileage may vary. Street Fighter V was the only game I've ever played online. I played about 20-ish matches last year, and I'm currently super silver. Sajam has more matches in Plus R since December than this guy does in SF5 total. Yeah, it's true. And I haven't even been playing Plus R that much. I learned like 2 other games since then or something. I think you guys all agree. It seems like a lot of people in the chat have been this person before, right? And I've been this person in this thread learning a new game and being afraid that it's too complex. I mean, when I was playing Street Fighter 4 and I went to Marvel, I was like, dude, the very first day, my roommate and I were playing Marvel 3, and he was playing Arthur with Sentinel Assist or something. And I was like, dude, there's no way to beat this. This is like the most, how does anybody get in on something like this? And he's just jumping back and throwing Arthur projectiles, right? It's impossible. None of us knew how to move or anything. And then like a week later, he was not playing Arthur with Sentinel Assist anymore because both of us knew so much more about the game that we were like, this doesn't work. So I constantly try to learn new games to get that perspective of being new. But one of the things that I really liked about this thread was not even this main topic. The first comment says, games with too much to learn are easy to get into. Just understanding enough or something takes you far. This is something that I've heard a few times, and I think that this is a really interesting way to think about fighting games. Guilty Gear, for example, just learn a combo into a hard knockdown, then a basic setup or mix-up, right? An anti-air and like a basic combo. With this, you'll have fun. The more you play, you can refine this further, yet still keep it unidimensional. You know, one pillar or aspect of Guilty Gear, this is the one thing you have. And the cool thing about learning one thing or doing one thing is that in a game like Gear, if you know how to do one thing, your opponent, if they're new, also probably knows only how to do one thing. They can both be completely separate, different ideas, and you guys can play against each other. And meanwhile, by playing more and more, you are learning the game. I saw a lot of people in this thread say, I try to learn a game like Street Fighter. There's only like a few things that I felt like I had to learn, right? Like these 5 things. But because there's only these 5 ideas instead of 20 ideas, learning them felt way more important. And anybody who had those ideas figured out, those guys will just beat you up. It really depends, I think, also on your interest level. And I think the learning curve in any game when you're new is always going to be similar in the sense that when you're new, you don't know anything. So whatever you learn, you just kind of grasp onto, and that's what you do. And that's your life until you learn the next thing, and the next thing, and then the next thing. Guilty Gear is one of those games where there's so many solutions usually to stuff. There's so many ways to get to the right answer. It's hard not to learn something when you play a complex game, correct? Like, there's always something new to stumble over. In particular, actually, I thought about this recently when I played VSAV. This old ancient fighting game, back when fighting games were good and when fighting games were tough. They just shattered your mind how complicated these old games were compared to modern games, which are baby mode easy. I played VSAV yesterday and I was like, this game is so simple. Vampire Savior is like, you just start hitting buttons and then you're like, oh, cool. I watched like some matches from more experienced players. The more I watched it and the more I like played the game, I was like, man, game is really straightforward. There's not a whole lot going on here that is like super far away from what I'm doing now. Then like playing Plus R, I feel like it's the opposite, where like when I look at things, I'm like, man, there's just so many things that I have to learn and think about. It's the experience is just a lot different. VSAV, I like felt like I could jump in there and I was playing right away and I was like, hell yeah, this is cool. But then when I was looking at the future, I was like, I'm not sure exactly what I need to learn next. With Plus R, there's just so many things to learn that I'm like, dude, let's just start somewhere. These old men were like shaking their canes at the writer of this thread. They were like, you can't learn this game. It's Guilty Gear. It's too hard. He was like, I'm going to just do it. And then he did and was like, that wasn't so bad. Yeah, Noon, people talk about it like it's ancient witchcraft. And then you try it and you're just like, oh, I just gunflame go burr. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's so weird. To compete at the highest level, to be a true competitor and get to that level is difficult, right? But just to play the game and have fun, it's not that much. The point of this all, too, is that Strive got delayed, right? So we're all like, what the fuck are we going to do for 3 months? And I think a lot of people are looking for new fighting game experiences in the meantime. You should learn a new game. And if the new game's an old game, you should just learn it. Dude, I've streamed like 100 hours of Plus R or something, right? And I'm like, now I'm like, I should probably learn some good combos. Like 100 hours in, I'm like, yeah, that's probably right. Listen. Fuck Zappa Sword. I can't even say Zappa looks cool. Fuck Zappa. You really do learn a lot when you fight fucked up characters like that, especially in old games. A lot of the times the answers are just like, yeah, get fucked. And you're just like, okay, I guess I'll die. And you just have to fight against something where the best answer is like, I guess you're gonna die. Okay.